All right, everyone, it's time to talk about maturity first thing in the morning. Yeah, something that I'm unfamiliar with because I have refused to mature. No link in the description this time, though. It's just basically a rant. I have always found that the idea of growing up, growing old, maturing, things like that, is overrated. The idea of, well, become a man, become a woman, and so forth. There are things that you have to do in life. For instance, you have to be able to provide for yourself and potentially for others. You probably will replicate, you will create a child, and so forth. That requires responsibility. And these are all good things. But you don't have to sacrifice having fun in the meantime. You don't have to mature according to society's standards. And what really is maturity? And in some third world tribes, maturity means putting your hand into a funnel full of bullet ants and withstanding their stings for an extended period of time. Then you become a man. It's completely arbitrary. It makes absolutely no sense. In my own life, I'm the sort of person who will work hard, and I do, for hours and hours every day. But when the work is done, I will do exactly what I want. For example, maybe I'll troll a little bit. That's always fun. Maybe I'll engage in even more piracy. Maybe I'll tip somebody a black spot. I've got several of those on hand for a reason. As a joke, of course. I'm not actually summoning them to a pirate conference or something like that. Or I'll whip out my phone. I'm not a big fan of phones, but there is one good thing about them. You can get soundboards online. And I realized that they had like musket soundboards. And so, you press the button, you pretend that your phone is like a black powder pistol or something, and then you have to laboriously reload it. And the goal is it's a little bit of a game to me. The goal is to see how many shots you can get off in a minute. You put on a timer and then you see what your reload rate is. I'm up to 4 now, actually, and going through the proper motions. You gotta brush it out and, chew the wad off, put in the powder in the ball, and so forth. It's actually quite fun. It's a form of entertainment. I never understood the value of a life in which there wasn't fun. Even your work should be generally, I mean, it can't always be, but preferably will be fun. Some people are really like SpongeBob SquarePants and really do want to just serve up burgers. Well, if that's what you're into, then do it. I mean, good luck paying your rent under Bidenomics, but you can probably make it work if you got 5 roommates or something like that, and you can get free burgers probably. So there are fringe benefits. I never thought that maturity was of any value myself. It stifles creativity, creates conformity. And it's basically you're living according to somebody else's command. So somebody else is telling you what is or is not acceptable. As long as you're not hurting anyone else, I don't think that any sort of behavior particularly should be out of the ballpark, so to speak. This is just my own personal opinion, my own personal ethos. I'm the kind of person who will toss a V8 can across the room and yell grenade. Just to be clear, and there are some people, by the way, on the channel that joined after the 2016 election, so they're mostly used to fairly dry political commentary and news topics, things like that. And some of them have said lately, like, Sticks, you're dressing like a pirate, you've gone off the rails, you got like a ball and chain next to you and stuff like that. You need to mature, you need to be more professional. And what I tell them is, please look at my videos prior to the 2016 election, when politics was only a small part of what I was talking about. I have never been a mature individual, and I never will be a mature individual. I can give you good poll analysis. I can give you up-to-date news, current events, and things like that. We'll be doing that in a live stream later. We've got all sorts of news to cover. I couldn't even docket it all. I had to drop several stories because it was fucking too much. But at the same time, I am going to dress like a pirate. And in real life, by the way, people admire me for that. It's quite fun, actually. People come up to me, they want selfies and shit like that, especially in New Orleans. It happened on 3 different occasions. There are probably pictures of me out there on the interwebs floating around at the moment dressed as a pirate. And sometimes kids think I'm a real pirate and stuff like that, and it was hilarious and, whatever. But being mature, God, who wants to grow up? Just admit it. Every single one of you didn't want to grow up. All of you have, for the most part. But that doesn't mean you have to act your age, so to speak. Doesn't mean you need to be mature. It doesn't mean that you have to conform to society's standards. It's not necessary. You do have to work. You're going to have to provide for those around you that you love, or are trying to help in some way. And there are certain ways in which you can or cannot act situationally. But that doesn't mean that when you're in your own privacy, you can't toss the V8 can across the room and yell hand grenade. You can. You are allowed to act out, act a bit juvenile sometimes. I mean, by sometimes I mean all the time with me, but it's a different story. It's like James Blaylock said in my favorite book, The Elfin Ship, through the character Theophile Escargot. This growing old is no good. You don't get wiser, you just fall apart. Well, fuck that then. That sounds terrible. I think that I'll just stay, a little bit mentally stunted, I suppose. If I can deliver good commentary and I can do my work, make my books and so forth, then at the end of the day, why can't I just, rumble through the jungle and pretend that I'm in the Vietnam War or something like that while using a stick as a rifle? I'm allowed to play make-believe. I find it hilarious. I never understood why people stopped doing that when they got older. It's like, they would buckle down after they hit puberty usually. They buckle down and then they start getting boring. Why? God damn, what kind of a life is that? Yeah, you got to go to work. That sucks, by the way. I have to work hard too. But at the end of the day, why can't you just cut loose? Why can't you pretend that the trees are ogres or something like that and hit them with a stick? This is what I do all the time. Maturity is vastly overrated. I don't think that many of you will be surprised to find out that this is my particular ethos in life, by the way. That's about all. Peace out.